Hello and welcome to our next project on Works 3D and Blender to build a 3D interactive e-learning application. So in this session, we are going to develop a complete 3D interactive web application. To begin with, come to the desktop. Either you can click on the Works 3D Ultimate icon on the desktop or double click on Blender 4.2 to launch it. And now in Blender, if you come to layout, you have this app manager here. So when you click on this app manager, in the browser, you can see this Works 3D app manager is going to open. So now we are going to begin by creating a new project. So for that, I will click on this create new app and I am going to call my app as Drone_Assembly. And then leaving everything default as it is, I will click on create app and the app is created. And once the app is created, you have a folder icon here. So when you click on this folder icon, this is going to open in your Explorer. So in your Explorer now you can see Works 3D has automatically created all these files in your Works 3D Drone_Assembly files. You can come to your courses in Blender Studio, this 3D interactive e-learning development. Come to this course, click on it, and in the very first general introduction, you have one download link given to you. This download link is also present in the description of this YouTube video. Now, once you click on this link and launch it, this is going to open in Google Drive. You can click on the download button here and download this resource. Now here, click on download anyway. Once the download has been done, I am going to cut it from here and put it in any of my folders. And the very first thing is you unzip this zip file. Once it is unzipped, when you open it, you have one folder called fonts, media, sound, v3d app data, and basically here the most important one is this Drone.blend file. You just copy all the files from here, right click and choose copy to copy it. Now come back to the folder where Works 3D had created this Drone_Assembly files, right click and paste it. And when you paste it, some 11 files it is asking to replace it. Click on replace the files in the destination and now all these files will be copied. Now only thing what you have to now do is, by default Works 3D has created a blend file here called as Drone_Assembly.blend. Now right click on this and choose rename and copy this name and then select this file and delete it. Now select the copied Drone.blend file, right click and choose rename and now press Ctrl V and paste the name. Now come into your Works 3D app manager and click on this Blender icon. This newly copied Drone_Assembly file is going to open in your Blender. Let us explore this once. So here if you come to the outline, you can see basically it has two collections. One is called as the environment and another is called as the Drone_Assembly. Now if you open this environment collection, inside this environment collection basically we have a camera. We have placed the camera and inside the camera if you open it, there are various components here. If you can see here, you have a frame and this frame has 3 buttons at the bottom, a heading and a subheading on the left side, and then you have a timeline at the bottom and the timeline marker. If I click on this button_fan and if I will come to layout view now, and in view I will choose local view, toggle local view. The keyboard shortcut is on your numpad, click on /. Now I will enable texture view. So this is the button you have. Then I will again press numpad forward slash, and then next I will select button next step, and if I press the numpad forward slash, see this is the button you have, okay, and then you have, I will again press numpad and I will come back to button pass and numpad forward slash, and this is the pass button. I will again press numpad forward slash, press the button play button, and if I press numpad forward slash, this is the play button you are seeing. Then I will again press numpad forward slash, then button previous. If I press numpad forward slash, this is the previous button. Then again I will press numpad forward slash, then you have text main. So we have 5 buttons here, and then you have one text main. The text main is the text that is displayed on the top bar over here, and then you have text step which is on the left hand side, and then you have a timeline. If I move it down, this is a plane created in 3D, and using material we have created 10 sections here. So if your animation has 5 sections, make it 5 sections. If your animation has 15 sections, make this 15 sections. This can be customized. This is nothing but a plane, and add the texture material. Then you have timeline back, there is a background. Then you have the timeline marker. See, this is the timeline marker, and finally a plain top text cover which is on the back side of the top text. So all these components are present inside our environment collection. Then we have this drone assembly which actually contains the animation. Various components are there. Say for example back panel, then you have battery plane, detectors. Say for example I select detectors. One thing in your animation that you have to do before we use it in this 3D application is, see if you take detectors, this detector animation is actually existing between frame number 550 to 650. To show you this, I will select this keyframe at 0 of this detector, press X, and I will delete it. Similarly, I will come to the last frame here 1350, and I am going to delete it. Now select the first frame from where your animation starts. Select this frame, Ctrl C and copy it, then go to frame number 0. Keeping the mouse in the timeline window, press Ctrl V and paste it. Then take the final frame where your animation ends, that is the 650 frame, and again now press Ctrl C and copy this and move to the last frame. See, my animation range is 1350. So I will go to 1350 and now press Ctrl V and paste it. This you have to do it to all the animations. This has already been done here. So when you are customizing, remember to customize it, so that if you take back panel, see the back panel animation is from 0 to 50, but we have added one keyframe at 1350 also. So similarly, if I select the front panel animation is 400 to 550. 400 frame keyframe I have added it at 0, and the 650 keyframe I have added it at 1350. So I asked you to do this for every component over here. In this animation, what we have done is, every stage of our assembly, say from frame number 0 to 150, you have the animation of all the motherboards getting assembled. And what we have done is, for this animation, we have added a marker here. So you can go to marker and you can add it here, and it has been named as step 1, mount the motherboards. And then for second step is 150 to 300, you have the second step, and here we are mounting the battery unit. So I have added a marker here. So 300 to next 400, you have the third stage which is adding the intelligence unit. Then 400 to 550 I have the 4 stage adding the gimbal unit. See, from 550 to 650 we are adding the main camera and the obstacle avoidance camera. From 650 to 800 we are adding the front two motor legs. Then in step 7 mount the front main cover on the screws. Then from 950 to 1050 you have stage 8 where we are mounting the 4 motors. Then in step 9 we are mounting the front left and rear right wings and we are rotating it anti-clockwise. 1200 to 1350 we have the 10th step where we are mounting the front right and rear left wings. So you can understand how we have created these animations. Now come into the render section here, and in the render section you have one Verge 3D settings here. Now you have to enable LZMA compression. Then I will also enable compress textures here, compress mesh attributes. So all this I have switched on. Scroll down and the animation is going to start with 0. This is enabled, and if you scroll down, shadows is enabled, and finally enable this ambient occlusion and this outline effect. I am going to go to file and save this, and then I will go to file, export, and I am going to export this as Verge 3D GLTF, and I am going to export it as Drone_Assembly.gltf. I will double click it and I will replace it. Once exported, I will launch my app manager, and now in the drone assembly if I click on the settings over here, and I am going to check that this is playing correctly. So this is playing right. One issue I am seeing here is I am not seeing the two textures here, because when we export it as Verge 3D, sometimes some textures will not be visible. I will come back here to my application, that is I will come back to Blender here, and coming back to Blender I will select those parts. That is, if I come to the first frame here, I will move in and you have this part, the material is not appearing correctly. So select this part which is gimbal left cover. I select this part and then I will come to this textures, and in textures I am going to select this M_basic texture and I am going to delete it off, because this is not getting rendered in Verge 3D correctly. I will delete it. Then similarly I will select this component front panel, and even in this I will come to M_basic and I am going to delete this, and then I will go to file, I will save this. Now again I will go to file, export Verge 3D GLTF. I will replace this GLTF file, and now once the export is done, now come back to the application here. I will close it now, and again I will launch this drone assembly and I will check it. So as you can see here, it launches and now you doesn't have this texture issue. So the animation is playing continuously from 1 to 1350. Now as the animation plays, we have to give control like this next and previous button, play button, change this text as the step changes, and this needle has to move. So we are going to implement all these interactive e-learning components into our 3D model, and this we are going to start it from our next session.